Hi everyone, it's Brent. I'm Brent, your webmaster and content creator for PathandTarot. So here we are in another playing card reading. We're going to be using this particular deck of cards here to do a reading, mainly as a follow-up to our last reading, which we did to talk more about the coronavirus and inquire, I guess, into the global energies. I guess I was sort of asking a question like, "Hey world, how are you doing?" Like the flavor of the reading was kind of centered around, like calling up your best friend or your family to check in on them and see how they're doing. Hey, are you okay? How are things? So it's been a little while since that video. There's been enough time to see events unfold, and we're gonna kind of re-inquire once more and close the Devil's Triangle in the reading. And so, to kind of give you a recap on the reading method we're going to use, it's a method called Opening the Devil's Triangle, and it has two versions of it. It has a version where it opens and expands and gives you more information, more cards at the end, and then the other version of it is where it contracts and sort of allows you to focus on one piece of information. It's basically built up in a triangle of 10 cards, where you've got 4 cards here, 3, 2, and then 1. To give you the 10 cards. And each cards are lined up in a column, and each column means different things, which I'll explain and get to as we do the reading, and it all kind of works together and points to one specific answer at the end, or opens up the answer to give you a series of things that would help answer the question. And so that's what we're going to be doing. I'll explain how the reading works as we're doing it. So I'll kind of take you along, just in case this is the first time you're seeing videos on this channel. You'll have an idea of how the reading method works. But there are also other videos on the YouTube channel, as well as on the blog PathandTarot.com that explain how this works. So if you do want to learn more, you can go check that out. Check that all out. Sorry, I misspoke. Okay, so before we get into the reading and really get into it, I just want to do the housekeeping stuff. So this is really all to mainly just maintain transparency and kind of let you know how this all works in the background. So a lot of what's in the description will be Amazon Associates links for you to check out the equipment and what's used in these readings. So I kind of treat that as informational, really, so that you get to see behind the scenes what equipment's being used. So for example, I've got the camera in there as an Amazon link. So this is from my Amazon Associates account. So if you click the link and buy the products or anything like that, I get some level of commission. And that commission goes towards the channel and the content that I make. So all that supports what I do on YouTube and what I do as well on my website. So that's a way of supporting me in a way. But also know too, it's informational. So you get to see what's being used. So again, like I said, I've got the camera. Something like this mat is actually quite nice to do readings on. It's just like a shelf liner. So I've actually included that in the description below. So if you're interested in kind of changing your reading space, this Duck brand shelf liner is actually quite nice to have cards glide on. It feels very smooth. It's almost revolutionized how I read cards and use cards on a table surface. It has almost a stickiness to it, but it's also got enough give so that cards can slide without much effort. So it's a really nice way to have a clean space that feels just kind of nice and tight. I kind of want to say, because it sticks to the table, so it just feels like I'm keeping things under control when I've got the cards. Whereas if this was on kind of a normal wood surface, the cards can slide a bit, so they'll move around. In this case, they can kind of stay put. So if you see right here, I'm kind of trying to move it, but it's not moving. So that's kind of nice if you're reading and wanting to keep the cards stay put. There'll be some extra resources when it comes to dominoes, as an example. We're going to be reading from Buckland's Domino Divination book. I'm going to use the dominoes as a way to clarify some part of the card reading. There is a gamed element within the opening the Devil's Triangle, or in this case, closing the Devil's Triangle reading. So there's a little bit of a game that we play that will help place the cards in the right way. And through that gaming element, we'll kind of collect some dominoes, I guess, as points, and that will help us clarify challenges or difficulty points within the reading. And so I've also got my cheat sheet off the camera here, and the dominoes are off to my side. So when I draw a domino, you'll know when. You'll see how the conditions work for drawing a domino. So things like that you'll be able to check out and learn a little bit more about that if you so choose. And then there'll be some links to my website as well too. So that pretty much covers it. And if you want to know more, you could always contact me as well. Very easy to contact. So I'm going to shuffle up these cards with you on camera to collect some energy, past, present, and future, because this is recorded. So if you're seeing this, you can sort of put energy into this as well. Divinity knows no bounds when it comes to time. It's time doesn't really play into it. So I guess that's something interesting to talk about. Is fortune telling non-temporal, meaning non-related to time, or time is difficult to really understand when it comes to fortune telling, I guess, but there are other methods, of course. But yeah, shuffling the cards. So we're going to be kind of asking again how the world is doing. A lot has changed. It is, what day is it? It is the 23rd of March right now. So it has been a few weeks. Vancouver, where I live, is in a state of emergency right now. So there's a lot happening here. And there's been a lot happening around the world too. So I imagine the cards are going to be able to say a whole lot. They'll be able to speak quite a bit, I think. I've been doing other types of readings with tarot cards on live stream through Instagram, and it seems the readings have been pointing towards a judgment of some sorts. I keep getting the judgment card near the end, and the cards at the beginning seem to reflect some sort of conflict. I've been getting the Five of Wands at the beginning and the judgment at the end. So that's kind of interesting. So there is somewhat of a light at the end of the tunnel by the looks of it, but we have to get through this. So I wonder how the playing cards are going to react to that. And we'll also have some clarification on some of the characters that we had in the last reading. So if you didn't get a chance to see the last reading, we had a Queen of Diamonds in there. And I think I know who the Queen of Diamonds is. I was trying to sort of guess who that was during the reading. But I think it's the planet Earth. It is the Earth itself, like the global energy. Diamond represents Pentacles, which is the Earth energy. So that's almost it's literal. The Earth is known to have it's a female energy. It's definitely not a male energy. And so the Queen of Diamonds, I think it's kind of obvious, yeah. But it's taken a little time to sort of realize that. I guess in the context of this global crisis we're facing. So I think these cards are pretty well shuffled. It only takes about 7 shuffles to really get that randomized. Okay, so here we are. We're going to start the reading. Hopefully you've had a chance to put your intentions into the reading. I've been sort of talking into the cards to try and empower these cards as well too. So let's start the game part of it. I'll explain that as we go. It's fairly straightforward. I'm just borrowing the elements of the card game Beat the Devil. It's a solo card game where you have 8 piles, and you basically have to match pairs, and you have to use the whole deck. If you use the whole deck, you win. If you can't use your whole deck with covering pairs and using all 8 piles, then you lose. So that's not the best way of explaining it, but I'll show you. We'll start right now, and it'll make more sense as we do this. So just want to make sure the cards are in focus. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so we got 2. So how this is go, we're going to line up 4 cards in this column, 3 cards in this column, 2, and then 1. So that's our triangle, closing, and having our final answer. So this column, it helps us understand the problem. It gives us the scope of it. The next column is sort of it devises a plan. It's the next steps. Like, okay, here's what we know. You know, how are we going to plan this out? The third column is carrying out the plan. So 2 cards will show us how is this gonna, how are we gonna do it, and then the last card is basically our final answer. So I'm just gonna get some water. Got my water bottle here. Sorry, I don't have the coronavirus, I swear to God. I'm just choking on water. Okay, here we go. 2. Okay, so there we go. This is our first pair. So when you get a pair, how this works is you just draw cards on top of the pair. And if there's no pairs to match, like we have right now, we're going to draw another card into our open pile. So we've got many other open piles to work with. So here we go. Next card here. No more, we don't have any matches. So again, we're going to draw into the next pile. So we got 7. So these 2 7s match. We're going to draw cards on top of it. And I can't draw cards into these open piles until I cover the available pairs, and there can be many available pairs, which we're probably going to see very soon. And if we get 3 of a kind, that's when we get to collect a domino. And so we'll probably see that too. That's probably going to happen. So let's just cover these 7s. Okay, great. So now we've got 5s to cover. All right. So now we've got no pairs. So now we can start filling up the other slots. So great. Now we've got a 3 to cover. And, okay, nothing else to cover. 6. Okay, so nothing else. Just kind of trying to, there we go, ace. Here's the cool thing, if you're not familiar with the meaning of playing cards, the Ace of Spades is basically the death card. It's one of the most negative cards of the 52 playing cards. So that's cool, we get that out of the way. And sort of, I guess what you can probably tell right now is you get to sort of play through all these cards, and you can control the flow of energy by using this gamed method. But you still at the very end are at the whim of chance, you know, sheer randomness to how the outcome ends. But the nice part about this is you have a little bit of control in the matter, so you get to kind of put yourself into this reading as well too, which I find to be nice. Okay, great, so we've got the aces, let's cover them, so let's move on. Okay, so here we go, we've got 2 8s. Now we've got the 2 4s. So as you can probably see, we're doing pretty good right now. You know, we're getting our matches, and as we continue, we do have to complete the triangle. So we just have to be careful to make sure we have enough cards to finish up the triangle, and that'll do the trick. And if we win, if we beat the devil with this little game, that's a positive meaning for the reading. If we can't win, then that has a negative connotation, and we can use that in various interpretive ways too. So it's an extra a little bit of a flavor, sprinkle of divinity on top of how these cards are read and how we read them. So it's a little bit of a bonus, I guess you could say. All right, so now we've got multiple matches, so this is great. So we get to choose, we have a choice between which match to cover. So if you kind of can keep track of the cards in your head, you can know, well, okay, well, if I cover this pair, there may be another chance to get another pair, and so I should cover the other pair first. So you've got those types of choices. So I haven't really been keeping track, I've been talking. I don't know, let's just cover the sixes. So now we've got fives to cover. I think we already have fives, so let's cover the fives. Interesting. So now we've got a lot of people going. The court cards usually represent people in this reading. So this is interesting. We're kind of weeding out the people, I guess, in this. I'm not sure if that is positive or negative, because there have been a lot of global fatalities, unfortunately, for this. So. Maybe we can all use this reading as a time to honor these people. I don't know. That's what I feel right now through these cards. There's just there's just a lot. 2 jacks, 2 kings, a queen. So jacks are younger people, kings are older people. So there's a mix of people of all ages right now happening in this part of the reading. So let's just move on. But we should honor the people who have been lost through this global crisis. Let's cover our queens. Oh, we got 3s. So, okay. Now let's cover our kings. Got our 7s. So we're doing really well. We've got 3 slots left. We've got 1, 2, 3. So we may have to save some cards. This is interesting. With 8 slots, it's quite difficult to beat the devil, so we're already at 2, 4, 6, 7. So we're doing pretty well, actually. This is unusual. It's not often that you can beat the devil. Was that 2? 2? Okay, there we go. Sorry, I'm getting off track as I talk. Beating the devil with 8 piles is challenging. It's usually a 1 in 10 chance to do that, so those odds, they're not the best. Okay, so we got 2 9s. All right, let's cover those. 2 8s. Okay, so here we go. We've got to open up another pile, so this is cool. Oh, aces. Aces. All right, so let's cover that ace. Jack. Well, we've already seen the jacks, so let's cover the jacks. Got our queen here. We've got our 6s. We got 6s and 4s. Let's cover the 6s. So I've got 2 cards left now. So this is it. I have to complete the triangle because I've got 2 slots to fill. You may be tempted, okay, well, why don't we just cover the 4s? No, that's not how it works. So this is how the operation is finalized. So we'll cover this. So here is our triangle closed, starting with 4, 3, 2, 1. And we were able to beat the devil, so this is positive. That should have, we can put a positive flavor on this reading. I'm just going to have some more water here. So this is great. We've got the Queen of Diamonds again, so we were able to, I'm just inferring really from the last reading kind of how the global events have unfolded. The Queen of the Queen of Diamonds feels like the Earth, like the whole world. It represents everything, the Earth that we're on right now. But yeah, put your interpretation to it as well too. Leave a comment too if you think otherwise, or have another insight into this. It's always great to read other insights for this. So I'm just going to use the cheat sheet that I've made for myself that has all the meanings for the playing cards. And just as a side note too, if you want to learn the meanings of each of these cards, just go to my website, PathandTarot.com, go under Cartomancy, and you'll see that. You'll see the article for it right there, and it's a complete list. of all these meanings that you can use, and then you can do these readings yourself. Very, very, very easy to do. Very practical, I feel, with these playing cards. They're sort of it moves away from the archetypes of the tarot and gives you something just more practical to work with. So you'll notice a different flavor of this reading compared to reading tarot. So let's get into it. Let's do this. Okay, so we've got our 4 columns to work with. You know, this is kind of giving us the scope of the problem, understanding, you know, what it is we're dealing with. You know, this column here helps us devise our plan to deal with these cards. This is carrying out the plan, you know, carrying out what we've devised here in this section, and to give us our final answer here. I want to work backwards. I think I want to kind of expand, even though we should be going this way. I kind of want to talk about the final answer in here, because I've been curious too. I've been wanting to do this reading for a little while, but I've also wanted to wait to let, you know, global events unfold. We didn't get any 3 of a kinds. I just realized that. So we didn't get any dominoes. So that can be something could be said about that too. No dominoes for clarification. We just gotta read these cards the way they are. So that's kind of cool. Let's interpret the 9 of clubs first. I'll just give you just the few words that represent it. So the 9 of clubs represents like abrupt fortune, wealth, and achievement of goals. Fantastic. That's pretty cool. That also relates with the outcomes of the tarot readings I've done on live streams on Instagram. It's represents that the light at the end of the tunnel is good. There is hope. So I think this whole global crisis, this world pandemic, is really going to teach the human civilization something. And I think now and going forward, it's now appropriate to reference. You know, people aren't just in their own countries anymore. They are. You know, I'm a Canadian citizen. You could be a citizen of whatever country. But you live on the planet Earth. You live in the same space as me. It's just that you live farther away from me. But we're really still living in the same globe. So it's global. You know, I see myself as a citizen of the planet Earth. You know, when I consider the events of this pandemic. Because what the pandemic is teaching us is that it doesn't matter where you are, you can be affected. And so this is really nice, abrupt fortune. So we're going to be learning from this in I think powerful ways, and I think we already have been learning from this. I for one have been tapping into newscasts from people in the UK, the United Kingdom. I've been watching videos from people in Ireland. You know, I'm actually just talking about learning about tarot and doing my own research. So for me, I'm tapping into the globe. I'm not using resources that are local to me. I'm using global resources, global people. So that's kind of cool. Okay, so let's move away from this because I guess we're kind of getting a little bit off track. But this is nice, abrupt fortune. So there's a light at the end of the tunnel here. So let's start here. So let's get our problem in order and understand these 4 aspects of it. Before we do that, let's just have a look at what are the predominant suits we have. It seems there's a mix. There's at least 2 of everything. Let's see, there's 2 hearts, 2 diamonds, 3 spades, 3 clubs. So I guess it's really, I mean, it's a toss-up, I guess, you know. And that's cool to recognize because it's telling us that we're dealing with all of the elements. There's no predominance of any one thing. We're dealing with multiple elements here: earth, fire, water, air, all that, because we're the playing card suits, they directly reference, the suits in tarot, swords, pentacles, and all that. So we're dealing with all of the elements in play, but it seems that the darker elements, the clubs and the spades, are more predominant, which is interesting. We've got 2 kings, 2 queens. So that is also interesting too. I think the Queen of Diamonds is referencing the Earth, but the Queen of Spades is a little bit more of a negative card in terms of my interpretations. The Queen of Spades is a bossy, malicious woman, or a woman of power, and that's kind of interesting. So maybe we can read that as the Earth, the global energies is taking back its power. It's kind of teaching us a lesson in I guess interesting ways with this pandemic. It's it's going, hey, I'm in charge, not you, the humans on my Earth. Maybe that's a way to read that. So okay, that was good to take stock of kind of what's in play here. But we have a lot of doubles, 2 10s, so that's pretty cool. 2 9s, 2. Actually, this is we've got pairs of everything on the table. Okay, so let's talk about that first, because this is actually really cool. So how do we interpret that? Well, we can interpret that as being every element has a duplicity, or a yin and yang effect. That's something that's one possible interpretation. So every answer from the cards has its opposite answer, and it seems that way too. We've everything's in opposite suits, of course. So there's going to be polarities, with this. If we look at the globe itself, there's north and south. So there's a relationship to the Earth as well too. That's pretty cool. So okay, I think that's all I'm seeing for the moment. Let's start and let's get into the cards themselves. So King of Hearts, that's a caring wise man, basically, a fair, affectionate man. Who could that be? That's hard to say. If you know our Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, he's quite a soft-spoken individual. Maybe that could be the King of Hearts right now. I'm Canadian, so that's just within my world at the moment. Maybe that's somebody different in your world. Could really be your father too, possibly in your family. Could be a number of things. It could even be a mentor of yourself too. That's hard to say. So this could also represent the fact that the human race is becoming more caring and affectionate as we're dealing with. So I'm going to move the camera because it seems to be we're the table. There we go. I just noticed that the table is moving. The King of Hearts could represent the fact that us as the human race, maybe depicted as a male energy or a forceful energy, is becoming more caring and sort of tapping into the like a feminine side, a more caring side of the male energy. That could be one interpretation, but let's look at the 9 of Spades here. Restless, being left behind, misfortune. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. We're in a global crisis, so we're definitely in a misfortune. So, we're trying hard to, curb the spread of this virus through our efforts, but it's there's still a lot of work to be done. What's the 4 of Spades say? So we're resolving a crisis. Yeah, absolutely. So we are resolving a crisis by the looks of it. At least we're attempting to. And it seems like a lot of countries have been successful, but there's still lots of work to be done. What does the 10 of Diamonds say? Reaping the rewards, household riches. That's interesting, and I think that's fairly accurate because, there is a lot of people that can prosper. I'm just going to move table a little bit there so you can see the diamonds. There, people can prosper from these types of times. Unfortunately, you know, it's hard to say. It's hard to talk positively about, you know, someone benefiting from the misfortunes of others, but that could also mean a lot of other things. That we're also going to reap the rewards of the hard work that we're going to put into that gets us out of this crisis. I think that's what this means. But if you've heard in the news, you know, like people hoarding supplies, that sort of thing. You know, there's a fellow down in the United States who bought up all the Lysol stuff and tried to price gouge. But I think those sorts of actions are getting taken care of very quickly. You know, there was an individual here in Canada that was doing something similar, and you know, justice was dealt very swiftly. So I don't see that being too much of a problem now. Yeah, and those things appear on social media, so the people in the world get to see those actions and kind of dispense their own sort of social justice in a way. You know, so they know that those types of actions aren't welcome, because they're not building a community. It's, you know, being a they're trying to prey on the community, I guess, in a way. So, but I think that this is positive. This means that we're going to reap the rewards. You know, we're building families. Like we're because we're stuck indoors, we're with our families, so we're building the community of our families, and probably interacting with other families near us too. So that could also represent family building here. So let's look at the Four of Clubs here. Four of Clubs. Draining entourage, dishonesty. So this could mean that well, we're already in a state of social isolation. We have to practice social distancing. I guess what that really means is you just have to be careful of the space around people so that you're not close to others to curb the spread of infection. So that makes a lot of sense. Draining entourage. So yeah, you want to be getting away from people. So I think this is that makes a lot of sense. That's part of what we're doing. That's part of our plan to help curb the spread of this virus, basically. Excuse me. And here's our Queen of Diamonds. So that's the planet Earth. So it's very nicely connected. So I think what we're doing right now to practice our social distancing. Actually, the social distancing is kind of a weird word, because really we're not distancing ourselves socially. We're just physically, you know, keeping our distance. So it's more about like a physical distance in a social setting, I guess you could say. But it's near our Earth. It's near the king. You know, we're trying to be, you know, compassionate towards these scenarios that we're not familiar with. So we're trying, and I think that's where this card is fitting in nicely. It's close to the Nine of Spades, so it's restless. So yeah, it's troubling. So the Nine of Spades is saying that it's hard, but it seems like it's going to work. Let's see, our Queen of Spades, our bossy woman. I think if we it's close to the resolving of the crisis, so it feels like it's the Earth kind of giving us a nudge and saying, "Hey, you know, you're just here on the planet Earth, you know, because really, you know, if you look at to humble yourself, really, you know, humans haven't been around that long when you consider the age of the Earth. That's another thing to consider. You know, we're humble in the face of our planet." I feel that that's what this Queen of Spades is really saying. It's just the Earth kind of taking back a little bit of itself and forcing us to reevaluate our position on this planet. And what else do we have? So we got Ten of Hearts here beside the Four of Clubs. So draining entourage, social distancing. Ten of Hearts is success through hard work, basically. So very similar to the Ten of Cups, almost a literal connection to that. So I think it's working. It's going to work. What we're doing right now to be in quarantine to help stop the spread, I think it's gonna do the trick. It just has to take time. We just have to wait it out. And the King of Clubs is the experienced, generous man, someone of high spirits. So I think it's appearing over here away from this king to show us that our male energy, which I guess you can decipher that as action. Maybe not. Male energy is just a path towards other metaphors of words. So action. So we're taking action. So this the pair here is saying that we're now experienced in these actions, having done them, which is resolving here to our Nine of Clubs, our abrupt fortune. So it feels like it won't be too much longer. I hope. I'm not sure. Time is difficult to tell through these readings, but it seems like everything that we're doing to prevent the spread of the coronavirus is going to work, I think. There's still a lot more work to be done, and I think that's what this reading is also saying to us as well, with these other negative cards like the Four of Spades, resolving a crisis. Nine of Spades, the restlessness, the misfortune that's happening directly to the earth. But Ten of Hearts here, experienced men. Yeah, we're now becoming more experienced. The earth is teaching us now. We're listening to it. We're tapping back into the elements of nature, the primal force of Gaia. This is really cool. This feels nice. I think this is a good resolution to the reading, and maybe this helps people out there get a better grasp of what's happening in the world. And isn't it interesting that the Queen of Diamonds appears in the center of all this? This is a fairly central location in this triangle. It's right in the center of it, so it's connected to all of these energies around it. The Ten's a little bit far off, but it's also connected through its spades, the sort of, a malicious action. But I don't see this as maybe too malicious. I feel that it's more power oriented, where like I said, the earth is kind of exerting power over us, but it's connected here nicely to the Ten of Diamonds. So we are going to reap the rewards eventually, but we're going to have to kind of take a little bit of a beating in the time being. But it seems like everything we're going to be doing will make sense over time. We just have to get through it, stay indoors. I would just really, every country has their own protocols, just follow the protocols of what your country is saying that's best for the country. We still have to recognize that, I said before, we're now global people, we're now closer than ever. But we're still within, our country's jurisdiction. Rules are different in every country, so we still have to play by the rules of our local places. So, stay in touch with the news, and work within that context of what's happening for you in your area, and stay safe. Don't take chances. I think I'm not sure if this spread can talk about how to stay safe. But I feel when it comes to when you start taking chances, you put yourself at the whim of luck. And usually, if you haven't major luck, luck will always play against you if you haven't prepared yourself for it. So don't take chances that you don't need to, and just do your best to play along with what's happening, and just be healthy. Take care of yourself. Eat right. Exercise. Do all the things that a lot of the professionals are advising you for. and stick to that. So I think that's all that we can really get out of this reading at the moment. I think I've exhausted a lot of what's in this reading. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that we could pull out of it. What about the because everything has a pair, you know, everything is yin and yang. I think that's pretty well represented. Each card sort of showed its positive and negative, except for the tens. They're both extremely positive, so that's really good. Maybe that can really tell us that, you know, the fortune is real. Like the positivity at the end is a real thing. That this nine of clubs, the abrupt fortune, it's a powerful thing, and so maybe that's what we can say. So but it also has the nine of spades there, so you know there is some restlessness. I think that's really all there is to it, and we beat the devil, like I said, so that's another positive spin on this whole thing. So that's even better. So to me, it seems that things are going to work out fairly well, I hope. But again, you know, this is all fortune telling too. So you know, things can change, energies can change. So if you're taking this, just take this for what it's worth. You know, because we are in a serious crisis right now. So don't let these things mislead you. Still pay attention. Use logic, you know, use sound judgment. Try not to let your emotions get the best of you. A steady head in these times will do very well for you. Maybe that's what this king is saying at the very end. Actually, having kind of talked a little bit about, you know, like a steady head. Maybe the king of clubs, the experienced man, is almost like a warning to say, you know, stay grounded. You know, stay focused. Be logical. Don't panic. There's a lot of panic buying here in my area, leaving the stores ravaged. There's no resources. There's no toilet paper. There's no cleaning supplies. Food has become somewhat scarce. You can still get food, but it's a little bit more challenging to figure out what to cook. Like, you know, what are you gonna do with like cans of this and that? So you got to be more creative, I guess. What else? Maybe that's it, I guess. Yeah, keep a level head. Yeah, we didn't get to use the dominoes. That's too bad, but maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's a positive thing, that we don't need any clarification. This is it. Here's the answer. So I don't think I'll do another reading like this for a little while. This will be the last of the playing card readings. At least for the moment. There are some other things that I'm working on right now, so expect some new content fairly soon. So that, I guess this is sort of the end of the video, where, you know, I trail off and kind of, I guess, do some promotional talk here. So there'll be some new things coming fairly soon. That'll be exciting. So subscribe to the channel and hit the notification button. The reason you want to do that is a lot of the content, the schedule for this is sparse. It's here and there. The reason for that is I want to make sure what I do produce is high quality content for you, the viewer. I respect you, and I want to make sure what you get is worth your time, because you're watching this after all, and you're investing your time in it. So I want to make sure what I deliver to you is of the highest quality. So that's the reason why you want to subscribe. You can go to my website and get on the email list too. And that will be as another way for me to notify you and you know, deliver you articles for you to read. You know, there's a diary happening now on the website. I won't talk about that because it's a little bit of a surprise, but if you've been on the website, then you probably already know. But go check it out. It's pretty cool. What else is there for me to say? Not too much. Follow me on other social media platforms. Instagram is a good one because I live stream there and do readings with tarot cards and other things. I'll use playing cards as well too, so I may use the playing cards again, but in a different way. I just won't do this style of reading for a little while until some of the energy builds up in the cards and global events change. But follow me on Instagram, interact with me there. I'll and keep an eye out for some of the live readings. You can see me on TikTok as well too. There'll be links for that for you to check out, and as well as on Twitter, where I can post articles on Twitter, so that you can get a variety of content through all these different platforms and video through YouTube here. Okay, so that is about it. I don't think there's anything else to talk about, is there? I do these videos really off the cuff and improvisational, so I try to capture all these weird quirks, and I think we've captured a lot of weirdness in this video, which is great. I like that. I don't think there's anything else to talk about. You know how to find me if you want to find me. I'm here on YouTube. I'm everywhere. Or all the places I should be at the moment on the net. And I actually, there's one last thing. I totally forgot. I do offer now readings for people. You can reach me on my website to book a reading. Actually, there'll be a link for that. I'll put a link in the description. So that if you want to do a more private reading with me, something more drawn out, a little bit more professional, I offer that. So investigate that. You just really have to send me an email. That's kind of the bulk of it. But the instructions will be there on that page to explain how to reach out to me to do a tarot reading or a playing card reading or a domino reading. So I offer 3 different types of services at the moment. Okay, so that is actually it. I think we covered it, all of it. Thank you for watching this video. Stay healthy, be safe, be well, and I'll see you next time.